This video covers Fall Review 4 over just kind of an array of things. So problem 1 or example 1 says, in which step does a mistake first appear in simplifying the expression? So when we simplify, we distribute first. So we take 0.5 and we multiply. So 0.5 times negative 12 gives us, 0.5 times negative 12 gives us negative 6c, and 0.5 times 6 gives us 3, which is what they have in the first step, so it's not going to be step 1. And then I take negative 3 and distribute, so negative 3 times c, negative 3 times 4, which is what they have here, so it's not going to be step 2. And then I take 10 and multiply by c, and by negative 5, which is what they have here, so it's not going to be that one. And then the second part is combining your like terms. So with my c's, I have negative 6, negative 3, and 10. So when I add those together, I do exactly what it says, negative 6, negative 3, plus 10. Negative 6, okay, negative 6 minus 3 plus 10. And I get 1c. That's not what step 4 says. So step 4 did not combine like terms correctly. Let me check the numbers. 3 minus 12 minus 50. And I get negative 59. So somewhere in there they took something that it was not a c and added it to make it a c, or something weird like that. Example 2 asks us to find the zero of the function. Zero is a fancy word for x-intercept. So the x-intercept is at negative 5. So we have the point negative 5, 0, or 0 means just a number, so that would be negative 5. The rate of change in the table below, rate of change is a fancy word for slope. So we're going to go to our stat edit and plug these in. So I have negative 6, negative 3, 0, 3, and 6. And then I have 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. So I'm going to click Stat, scroll to Calc, option 4. And M is negative 0.3 repeating, not negative 3, not positive, not positive. So before I even put it into a fraction, I can see F is my only option. Problem 4 asks which graph represents this inequality. Before I can figure that out by the graph, I need to solve for y. So I'm going to add 2x to both sides to move x, and then finish getting y by itself by dividing everything by 3. So y is greater than 2/3 x plus 4. So greater than means it's going to be a dashed line. So let me see if I can take out any answer choices. Oh, good. B and D. And then A and C, if you notice, the only difference is for the shading. So with the shading, I have y is greater than 4. Numbers greater than 4 are 5, 6, 7, 8. So the shading needs to be above 4 or greater than 4. Example 5 is an example with exponents, so we have to use our exponent rules here. So I'm going to take care of this top part first to simplify the top before I divide by the bottom. So I'm going to rewrite the bottom so I don't even confuse myself. Big numbers are normal, so on the top, 8 times 3 is 24. And then the little numbers, because these are separated, I add them, so 2 plus 6 is 8. Then, to further simplify, I divide the big numbers just like I see them, so big numbers are normal. So 24 divided by negative 6 is negative 4. And then with these, I subtract, so v to the 8 minus 5 is 3, and I leave it like that. I can also break this up number by number, letter by letter, and do the numbers at one time and the letters at one time, but I wanted to refresh you of two separate rules. When they are multiplied like this, we really add, and when they are divided by the fraction bar, we really subtract. So example 6, when you have a power to a power, you distribute. So we have 2 cubed, and then we have b to the negative 3 cubed, And same thing here. A cubed is squared, and b to the 5th is squared. So with the numbers, I'm going to plug in 2 raised to the 3 is 8. A's, I have 2 times 3. These are multiplied because they're sitting right on top of each other. So 3 times 2 is 6. And then with the B's, I have -9 and +10. Because they're separated, I will add them. So -9 plus 10 is a +1. So a couple of quick calculator steps to remember. If you are given a y equals and they ask you for the solution to the system, you can put them both in y equals in your calculator. So 3x minus 2 and -4x plus 5. I can go to graph and see where they cross. And then I can click second, trace 5, enter, enter, enter to see exactly where the answer is. So again, I put in y equals. Then I click graph. And then second, trace 5, and then enter times 3 to get my solution. Remember that you can pause these videos to write this down. So matrices, when we plug in a matrix, we have x, y, and answer. So I'm going to write these out. 25, 1, 300, 40, 1, 420. So our steps are to click second, math, scroll to the right, option 9, and enter. So second, math, right. Oh, sorry, it's not math, it's matrix. So second, x -1. I apologize. So second, x -1, scroll to the right, option B, and enter. And then I click alpha, zoom. You want a 2 by 3, and then click OK. So alpha, zoom, 2 by 3 is already selected, so I click enter for OK. And then I enter my matrix like I see it. Oh, that was not how I saw it. Hold on. And remember, when we enter the matrix, we use the right arrows. Our answer comes out 10018 So the 1001, this part, tells me that it's a good solution, and then the 8100 is my actual answer. To graph an inequality on the calculator, we didn't go over that when we were graphing, but first thing you need to do is solve for y, so we move x to the other side, and then divide by 2. Because we divided by a negative, we have to shift our sign or flip it. So to graph this, I would go to y equals, and I would type this in, alpha y equals, enter. My fraction is 3/2 x minus 3. And then I will scroll all the way to the left and click enter. So this is clicking enter. This is a less than sign, so my little shady thing needs to look like an L for a less than. So if you look, this less than sign and this arrow kind of look the same. So when I click graph, it will show me where the shading is. So enter this into y equals, use the left arrow to get to the /, and then click enter to the shading. Your shading is in the bottom if it's a less than sign, and it goes in the top if it is a greater than. Functions. Given the function 2x squared minus 5, identify these two pieces. So this is going to go in y equals 2x squared minus 5. And then I'm looking for a couple of things in the table. So I clicked second and graph to get to the table. Inside the parentheses is an x, so I'm looking for where x equals 2 for f of 2. So I'm going to scroll down. When x is 2, y is 3. This one is asking for y. So they're giving you a y value and asking for x. Sorry, they're asking you for x when given a y. So for this, I'm going to look on the y's. When y is 67, x is 6. Oh. So this one, my answer is 3, and the other one, x is 6, okay? Now, something that you don't need to do at this point, but is good to remind you, is the table ask. So if you click second window, you can tell it that you want your independent to be at ask. When you go back to the table will be empty, so you can say x is 2 and click enter to see y. If they ask for where x is 100, you could plug in 100 to see x rather than scrolling all the way down till you get to x is 100. So again, that's second window and then change independent to ask. And then stat edit, we click stat, scroll right to edit, and click enter. We enter our tables, so -2, 4, and 2, -6. Remember, if anything is in there already, then you can click, go up till the list is highlighted and click clear. So I enter my table exactly like I see it, and then we click stat, scroll to calc, option 4, enter a ton. I think it's like 5 times. So stat, scroll to calc, option 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it tells me my equation where A and M are your slope, B is your y-intercept, and you can write your equation from there.